Hi, this is Bob Price. I wanted to start off by talking with you, and I've talked about this before, but I'm an empath. And a lot of people think that an empath is all about being able to feel other people's feelings. But I want to share with you in this video something else that empaths can do. And it has to do with artistry and color and the ability to take something in that you see into yourself, into your being. It's something beautiful that a lot of people don't know about, but I want to share with you, my audience, this beautiful truth. So I walked the beach of Cape May today, not in reality, but in a shared reality from Najia, my friend and mentor. There's something magic to be learned in this. Something we can visit a place. Sometimes we can visit a place without ever physically being there. This morning, I was watching a live video from Najia while she was in Cape May, New Jersey, on a mermaid retreat. I've never been to Cape May, but for a little while, through her eyes, the images she was sharing and what was happening, I felt as though I had. Some screen captures are here in my post that I put on my YouTube site from that video, and I did some watercolor paintings also. I'll put the link to the post in the comments of this video if you want to see it. What struck me first were the colors in the video. As the morning light changed, she was actually there experiencing a sunrise in Cape May. The sky seemed to paint itself. Orange flowed into soft magenta. Magenta gradually became cyan. Cyan touched hints of green and blue. None of the colors seemed to have a beginning or an end. They simply blended into one another. It reminded me of watercolor. When you paint with watercolor, you can guide the pigment, but sometimes the most beautiful things happen when you allow the water and colors to find their own way. One color touches another, and edges soften, and suddenly something appears that you never could have created by carefully drawing every line. This is true of batik also. Watching the Cape May sky felt like watching the world create its own watercolor painting. There was no artist standing there on the beach with a brush. The ocean was the canvas, and God was the artist. The rising sun provided the light. The clouds carried the color. The nature did the painting. I found myself thinking about how often we hurry past moments like this. We are thinking about where we need to go and what we need to accomplish and what happened yesterday. Meanwhile, right in front of us, something extraordinary may be happening. For a few moments, I wasn't thinking about any of those things. I was simply watching. And I was grateful that Najia chose to share this colorful moment with the rest of us. As I watched, something else happened. My imagination began filling in the spaces between the images. Suddenly, I wasn't just watching Cape May on a screen. I was walking there. I walked the beach of Cape May. The morning wind touched my face. I breathed in the sea air and heard the rhythm of waves moving toward the shore and then quietly returning to the ocean. My feet sank gently into the cool sand. For a moment, my feet were one with the earth beneath me. There's nowhere at that time I needed to go, nothing I needed to accomplish, nothing I needed to understand. There was simply peace, and taking that peace within. Ahead of me, the horizon stretches farther than I can see. Oranges become magenta, magenta becomes cyan, cyan becomes blue and green. The colors don't compete with one another, they simply become part of one another. Maybe there's a lesson in that too. A gull walks across the sand nearby, looking at me as though I am the visitor, which of course I am. Another flies overhead, carried effortlessly through the morning air. I continue walking. Waves leave little mirrors across the wet sand, briefly reflecting the colors of the sky, before the next wave washes them away. Nothing here stays exactly the same, and yet somehow it all feels timeless. I look out at across the ocean. There is an entire world beneath the water that I can't see, and my imagination begins wandering again. I wonder if somewhere out there below the surface mermaids swim together. Perhaps they laugh, perhaps they tell stories, perhaps they know things about the ocean that those of us walking along the shore will never understand. I smile at that thought. Do mermaids watch us and wonder about our world the way we look at the ocean and wonder about theirs? Maybe imagination is another way of traveling. Maybe wonder is too. I never physically walked this beach. I've never felt Cape May sand beneath my feet. I've never stood there and watched the sun transforming the morning sky, and yet somehow, now I have. Someone shared a moment with me, and for a little while, the distance between California and New Jersey disappeared. That's one of the beautiful things about sharing our experiences together, one with another. We can take someone, someplace where you've never been, and we can show them something they've never seen. We can allow them to experience a little piece of our world. Najia does that all the time on her lives. She takes us on beautiful walks in the forest, and this time she took us on a beautiful walk on the morning sunrise on a beach. And sometimes that experience awakens something inside of us, a memory, an idea, a feeling, a story, or perhaps simply a moment of peace. That is what the morning gave me. And perhaps that's why the colors stayed with me. Orange, magenta, cyan, green, blue. A real-world watercolor painted across the sky. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that the beauty wasn't really contained in any one color. It was a transition between them. One color becoming another, one moment becoming the next, darkness becoming morning. Maybe our lives are like that too. We tend to divide our experiences into separate pieces. The difficult times, the joyful times, the people we've lost, the people who unexpectedly arrive, the things we've learned, and the things we're trying to understand. But when we look back from far enough away, perhaps the boundaries aren't quite so clear. They blend, just like a watercolor. One experience flows into another and becomes part of the larger painting of our lives. Some colors are darker, some are brilliant, some appear only briefly, but each contributes something to the finished picture. This morning, Najia gave me a window into one small corner of her world, and somehow it became part of mine. That's worth being grateful for, and that was worth getting up really early to experience. So although I've never been to Cape May, New Jersey, I can close my eyes now and imagine it. I can hear the waves. I can feel the breeze. I can see those colors spreading across the horizon. I can imagine a gull walking beside me. And somehow beneath those waves, perhaps a mermaid is laughing. Someday I may actually stand on that beach. But until then, a little piece of Cape May lives in my imagination. And sometimes that's enough. I've never been there, yet now, in a small and beautiful way, I have. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you on the next one.